What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to talk about Bright Dust and how it relates to the Festival of the Lost event starting up next week. So with that Halloween themed event, there's a lot of cool stuff that you'll be able to get during that time period. So you'll be able to get things like really cool emotes. We've seen some of the exotic ones and some of the new dance ones. We've seen a lot of the different types of ghost shells that may be available. Who doesn't want the cat ghost? There are new ships and Sparrows and masks, of course. So there's going to be a lot of things that you can get just by playing the game naturally, but also some things that you can get by acquiring them with Bright Dust. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the ways that you can bump up your stockpile of Bright Dust heading into Festival of the Lost. So first thing you want to do is find out how much Bright Dust you even have. And it's hidden up here in the top right. Right now I have a pretty good supply, but I did spend quite a bit this week, and a lot of you guys may have done that as well because Eververse did have some cool things this week. So there was a pretty cool emote here, the trombone. There was a fancy ghost shell. So you may have bought some of these things from Eververse, and you might be running a bit low on Bright Dust right now. So what are some of the ways you can replenish that stock right away? Well, the first thing I would do is look at your character or characters. Look at your vault, and more specifically, look at your ghost shells and your ships, because these are things that you may have duplicates of, and a lot of these here will give you a lot of Bright Dust right away. So for instance, let's go back to my Sparrows. Right now you can see that I have two of these exotic Sparrows, so I can easily get rid of one of these, and you'll notice it does take a while to dismantle it, but when you do, this will give you back 500 Bright Dust. So nothing to scoff at right there. That's a significant amount of Bright Dust. Right away, I'm already in a much better spot. Likewise, too, you want to look at your ships because you may have some duplicates of those. I have a few of these Lost Legend ships. Now, one of these has Warmind and one of these has Fallen Servitor. Kind of like the Warmind one, so I'll get rid of the Lost. Look and find any duplicates that you might have, and then break down the one that doesn't have the transmat effect you really want. When it comes to your Sparrows, you might want to try to keep ones that have less time to summon. That's always a good thing to have on Sparrows, but you may have that on your Ghost Shell, so you don't have to be restricted to just that. So when it comes to your Ghost Shells, those are a bit more useful when it comes to actually playing the game. They have a lot of different perks, so be careful when you break down some of these. I do have this one here that has Strike Experience, and I have another one up here that has Strike Experience. One has Arc, one has Solar. So which one do I want to keep? Well, I usually play Arc with my Titan, so I'll probably keep this one and get rid of this Ghost. Now, you'll notice that the Legendaries only break down to about 100 Bright Dust, but nonetheless, though, you're already going to get a good amount here because I know you probably have some duplicates. And even if you don't have duplicates, don't worry about breaking down a ship or a ghost shell that you're like, oh man, should I keep this or not? Because here's the thing. I could break down this ship. I only have one of these. This is my only one. But if I break this down, I get 500 Bright Dust right away. And I can always go back to my collections and pick up that ship that I had before. So very easily I can go in here. I can find that ship. I can buy it back again. Yeah, it's going to cost me more Bright Dust, but here's the thing. You can get these at any point, any time in Destiny, and you may have a lot more Bright Dust a couple months down the line. But that doesn't help you out right now with Festival of the Lost happening next week, so it's better to have a lot of Bright Dust right now and be able to get things that may or may not only be available for that very short window. So don't worry too much about saying, oh gosh, if I get rid of this, will I be able to get it back? You can get these things back when you're rolling in Bright Dust down the line when you've been playing for longer. So don't worry about getting rid of, especially ships, because they're very much just cosmetic. So don't worry about getting rid of these. You can always get them back again. They will cost you a bit more, but that's not a big deal. You can worry about that later on. So that's what my one advice when it comes to your ships. But it also applies to your Sparrows too. You want to be a bit more conscientious about what you're breaking down, because if it has that less time to summon perk on it, that's always really useful. But don't worry about getting rid of Sparrows. You probably have a good amount anyway, and you'll be in a much better spot having stuff for Festival of the Lost. Last but not least, so you already got rid of your Sparrows, you got rid of your Ghosts and your ships, and you still want a bit more Bright Dust. Well, the next thing I would say is look at your inventory and look at your shaders, because you've probably gotten a number of steadfast engrams, and you've gotten a good amount of shaders here. You may not have a crazy amount, but you'll notice that for a lot of these shaders, if you go over to our good buddy Master Rahul, when you break these down, these will give you bright dust as well. So let's just take a look at Noble Constant Red. I have 20 of these. Well, am I ever going to use 20 of them? Probably not. So I can break these down. It won't give you a ton of bright dust. It's giving me 10 for each one. But if I break down 15 of these, well, right away I've already gotten 150 bright dust. And you can do that for a number of your shaders. Now, some of these will give you legendary shards, and I've talked about that before in how to get a lot of legendary shards. This is one of the ways. But our focus here, though, is bumping up our bright dust numbers. So just go around and break down some different amounts. You don't have to break down all of them. You can break down a handful. Go through and maybe bump it down to like 10 each or 5 each. That way you have some on hand. But the same thing applies here. All of these shaders, if I go to my collections, I can get these back at any time. So how often do you really change your shaders? Probably not too often, unless you like having a different look every day. You probably... Well, I can always go back in here and I can buy these shaders back again. It's better to have bright dust right now than it is 2 months from now, and you might not be able to get... Getting rid of duplicates first. From that point, you can get rid of some things that you probably won't be using right now. Get rid of some extra shaders. That'll bump up your bright dust number, and then at the very least you'll have a good amount to buy some of the things that she's selling at Eververse. What if you don't have duplicates, or you don't have many Sparrows? Maybe you just got into the game when Forsaken came out. Well, don't worry about that too much, because with the Festival of the Lost DLC, or the free event, not only will you get steadfast engrams, but you also will get a special ephemeral engram during that event. So you're basically getting 2 engrams every single time you level up. So that's going to give you a good amount of chances to get things organically. But this video is designed to help people out to bump up that bright dust number so that you will be able to get all the cool cat shells and the Shaxx mask, all the cool things that you want to get. This will help you have a better chance of doing that. So hopefully this was helpful. I'm really excited for Festival of the Lost. Let me know what you think in the comments. Most importantly though, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up next week.